Shalom, my Hebrews and Shebrews. Oilfield Disciple here, fixing to hit on a subject that I'm well versed in and well acquainted with, and that is biblical marriages. Now, I just got through having a pretty good discussion on Facebook, and that always spurs me to make a video. Um, you know, uh, I've had a day off, and I was just kind of taking the day off, scrolling through Facebook, and I ran across a post that it wasn't a whole lot issue with it other than here's the deal, and let's talk about it. All right, biblical marriage. What constitutes biblical marriage? Most people today in the Western culture want to say that you're not married unless you have that certificate in your hand. Okay, that's not a biblical marriage. That is a contract between you, your wife, and the state. And the state is the head of your home when you make that contract. Don't believe me? Um, Let them come for your kids. Let them come to check out your home to see if you are in compliance with state regulations. And if you're not, they will take your kids. That puts them head of your home. Man, that puts you basically as the bitch. Um, and that's the only way I can say it where it's right. So the marriage contract here in the Western world is not a biblical marriage. Now the discussion that I had in this Facebook post was the original comment was is this is a pastor speaking. People come to me all the time and say my boyfriend or my girlfriend is cheating on me, and I have to tell them that that is impossible. All y'all are doing is sinning against God. Um, and if he or she is cheating on you, it's not cheating on you, but yet it is in direct sin with God. And I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But what he was getting at was is you have to get the marriage contract in order to be um, biblically married, and it's not that state contract. That does not constitute biblical marriage, and it's actually out of order biblically. Um, Me and Mama Bear have actually thought about getting a divorce so I can get the government out of my contract. See, a true covenant with man and woman involves God, not the state. Um, and so, I quoted a few verses, and I got told, well, that sounds all right, but it's weak. You can't just use three verses to make a point biblically. All right, jackass. Um, that's fine. If I quoted every verse that deals with marriage, we're going to be here a minute. All right. I teach a biblical marriage class um, for all marriages, marriages that are fixing to be, marriages that are starting out, marriages that have broken and fallen apart. And it's one class. It's a class that God has given me, um, me and Mama Bear, to be able to teach all aspects of marriage and have a biblical base to it. Stay out of the marriage contract with the state, and that's what I teach. Well, these guys are hell bent determined that if you don't have that certificate of marriage from the state, you're not legally, biblically married. That's bull. Um, and I'll teach against it all day long. In actuality, a married woman stepping out of the marriage and having sex with another man, that is what constitutes adultery. A man having sex with another woman that is married, that is adultery. A man having sex with a woman that is not married, he's just bringing her into part of the contract, and he's just wifed her, whether he likes it or not. Now, today, we don't stand up to that contract. We don't stand up with that covenant. We just run around wifing people and wifing young ladies and taking their innocence and moving on to the next one. We're like predators. We're no way in biblical standings with God when it comes to marriage 95% of the time because we don't understand marriage. Actual adultery is us being in apostasy to God. When you see the word adultery in Scripture, most of the time it's it's talking about a woman that is married who has stepped out of the marriage, but most of the time, um, adultery in the Bible is talking about us humans stepping out of the marriage contract that God has given us for redemption. Marriage is the redemption plan. You don't believe me? He made a contract with Abraham. He's going to consummate the marriage, talking about it in Matthew chapter 25 when he talks about the 10 virgins. That's going to be the consummation. Uh, and Revelation 20, I think it's 23, the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's the feast. See, you got the contract, you got the consummation, and then you got the feast. Well, everybody on that thread was arguing with me that nowhere in the biblical standings does it require us to have a feast. Well, then why is Jesus going to have a feast after the consummation? We're to be like Jesus. We're to act like Jesus. So therefore, our marriage should look like the marriage that God has decreed from the beginning of the redemption plan of man, all pointing to Christ. You know, it's real simple when you look at it correctly, but we don't want to do that. You know, we want to do it the Western way. You know, we're going to get saved by the rapture and be taken away. Yay, ha. You know, y'all believe that. You know, and argue with me all you want. Anyway, that's the quick word I had for y'all. Y'all be blessed, be encouraged, and always be frustrated. So will Phil Disciple, and I will catch you on the next ride.